Vibhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna to all of you. Welcome to another exciting class.
Hare Krishna，亲爱的大家，欢迎大家回到
Very
一个
interesting topic of self-care. And today we're going to talk about how to take care of yourself in the face of aggression, criticism, or dealing with difficult circumstances or people.
Hare Krishna，亲爱的大家，欢迎大家再次
Sound
回
good?
到。Prabhu, sorry, please accept my humble obeisances. Am I supposed to translate or what?
Can you hear me or not?
Can you hear me?
No? Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Gurudeva, can you hear us? The translator
Can you hear
is-
us? Somebody say something?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, can you hear Tanakali Mataji?
You're unmuted.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can you hear me?
Kelly. Oh, wait a second. Can you say something now?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah. No, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. It's a little bit scared just now.
I have a mixer and I have one button so I can hear myself and one button so I can hear you. And
Okay.
I had the button where I couldn't hear you, only myself.
Okay.
We're all
So now
right.
we're good.
Yeah. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivardhari Yashodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jagopi Janabalava Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivardhari Yashodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Jai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Any questions from last week?
像上一周有遗留的问题吗？
没有，
No,
都解答完了。
all of the questions has been answered.
So I think it's important we talk about protecting ourselves in environments that are antagonistic to our sanity.
那我觉得呢，就是我们很重要的一点是要来讲一下如何保护我们自己，特别是当我们在一个受到攻击的这么一种状态下的时候，当受到敌对的对待的时候。
So some environments are difficult for us to be in.
那有一些环境，是很困难的，让我们处在其中的。
Some people may be difficult for us to deal with.
有一些人呢，可能我们也很难去应付。
Some people may be very critical of us.
还有一些人呢，可能就对我们是存有很大的批评的。
Some people don't like women.
有些人根本就不喜欢女人。
Some people don't like Russians.
有些人不喜欢俄罗斯人。
Some people don't like South Americans.
有些人不喜欢南美人。
Some people don't like Chinese.
有些人不喜欢中国人。
And unbelievably, some people don't like Americans.
然后呢，令人无法相信的一件事就是，有些人不喜欢美国人。
I can't imagine why they wouldn't like us.
我没有办法想象为什么他们不喜欢我们美国人。
So it is quite common when we're in those situations to become very upset.
所以呢，我们在这样的情况下就变得很不高兴，这个也是很平常的一件事儿。
And as we know, that upset can be very unhealthy for us.
但我们也知道，就是这样的不开心呢，对于我们来说是很不健康的。
Sometimes it can cause us to do or say something that we later regret.
那有的时候呢，这样就会导致我们会做一些或者说一些话，让我们后来就会后悔。
Sometimes it can throw us into the mode of ignorance by remaining disturbed, angry, resentful.
那有的时候呢，就会由于我们会始终处在被打扰的状态，一种怀恨在心的状态，或者是一种这个愤怒的状态，让我们处在愚昧属性之中。
And when we're not dealt with respectfully or unfairly, it often can cause us to become very discouraged in our spiritual life.
那如果我们要是没有被尊重，或者是没有被公平的对待的话，就会让我们在灵性生活中变得非常的气馁。
And it's totally understandable why that would happen.
那当然，这样的事情发生了以后呢，也是能够理解的，是很能够被人理解的。
So I want to talk about this reality in relation to the topic of self-care.
那所以呢，我就想就自我关爱这个话题来谈一谈，就是在这一方面的这个实际情况。
Now, some of you may know that what most affects us is not what happens to us, but how we react to what happens to us.
大家都知道，其实就是在我们身上所发生的事情而导致的这个结果，其实并不是发生的这个事情本身，而是我们对这个事情的应对。
So I could play a joke on you if we're walking and I can point my finger and look very frightened and say, there's a cobra coming at us.
那比如说呢，我可以和你这个开一个玩笑，就比如说，当我们走在路上的时候，突然之间我就会指着路上会说，看有一个眼镜蛇，向我们走来了，向我们游过来了。
So there's no cobra.
但实际上没有眼镜蛇。
So you're reacting to a perception because I tricked you.
那然后呢，你就因为我骗了你，所以说呢，你会有一种对这个事儿的理解的应对。
So the reality was there was nothing to fear.
那么这个实际的情况呢，是没有什么可怕的事情。
But I got you to imagine there was something to fear.
但是呢，我让你就处在了一种想象之中，让你觉得好像有东西吓着你了。
And so you had a very strong reaction.
那所以呢，你这会儿的这个反应就非常的强烈。
And that happens in life often, that we react to something that's not really a big problem for many people, but it can be a big problem for us.
那所以这个在我们的现实生活中呢，也会出现同样的状况，就是我们会对一些对于别人来说根本就不是一件什么事情的事情而产生很大的反应。
So we want to talk about how we can protect ourselves from allowing situations to harm us.
那所以说，我们要来这个讲一讲如何来保护我们，不让这样的事情来伤害我们。
If you value your Krishna consciousness, then you will need to value finding ways to remain as undisturbed as possible by disturbing situations.
就如果你要是觉得你的 Krishna 知觉是非常珍贵的话，那么你就同样的需要感觉去找到一些办法，让我们不会被各种各样的事情来打扰。这种做法也要觉得很珍贵。
Because after all, we're trying to become steady in the face of difficulties, in the face of duality.
因为毕竟我们在做的一件事情呢，就是要让我们在面对困难的时候，在面对二元性的时候，要让自己处在稳定的状态。
And if we allow the world to push us around, it will push us around because it's the world of duality.
如果要是我们允许这个世界这么推着我们到处乱转的话呢，那这世界它的确是会推着我们到处乱转的，因为这本来就是一个二元性的世界。
In your life, people will misunderstand you many times.
那在你的生活中呢，人们会很多次的误解你。
They will wrongly judge your motives.
那他们会这个错误的评判你的动机。
They will misunderstand what you said.
他们会错误的理解你所说的话。
They will say you said things you didn't say.
他们会说一些你根本就没有说的话。
Now, it's going to happen to all of us.
那么这件事情呢，是会在我们所有的人身上发生的。
And it's going to happen regularly.
而且呢，也是会经常发生的。
So wouldn't it be good to be able to deal with that without becoming disturbed?
所以
Wouldn't that be helpful for your spiritual life?
如果我们要是能够学会如何在不打搅我们的情况下去应对这些情况，是不是挺好的一件事儿？对于我们的灵性生活是很有帮助的。
And wouldn't you agree that doing so would be an act of self-caring?
而且大家是不是会同意，我们如果这么做的话呢，其实就是一个自我关爱的行动。
In other words, I care for myself enough that I'm not going to allow myself to become disturbed, to become disturbed by everything, because everything, there's a million things to be disturbed by.
换句话说呢，就是有太多的事情会搅扰到我们，所以呢，我要让自己足够的关爱自己，从而不被这些事情所打扰。
Have you ever noticed someone being very disturbed about something and you can't really understand why they're so disturbed? It's not such a big thing.
你有没有遇到这样的一种情况，就是有些人他们会被一些事情非常的搅扰，但是你不明白为什么这件事情这么的搅扰他，因为这个根本就不是一件什么大事儿。
But that's human nature. That's something is going to disturb all of us, and we're going to get very riled up about it.
但是这个呢，就是人类的天性，就是有很多很多的事情都会搅扰到我们，而且呢，我们也会对这样的事情会产生很强烈的这种抗拒心。
It might be a line at the grocery store. It took you 10 minutes to get through the line, and now you want to kill somebody.
也许可能就是在这个在这个便利店里边买东西的时候，你要花10分钟的时间才能够买单，然后这会儿呢，你就特别的愤怒了，你就恨不得想把哪个人给杀死。
He could be a rickshaw walla in Vrindavan is charging you 5 rupees more than he should, and you get very upset.
或者说呢，在稳达稳的一个这个车夫 rickshaw 的车夫，他要让你付的钱呢比正常付的钱要多5个 rupee，这会儿你肯定就会特别愤怒。
So if we have the consciousness of protecting ourselves, I don't think we would get so upset by things, because we would understand how disruptive it is for our own sanity and our own Krishna consciousness.
所以，如果我们要是有一个要保护自己关爱自己的这种知觉的话，那我想我们就不会被这么多事情来搅扰了，因为我们知道这些事情对于我们的自己的知觉、自己的这个圣洁的这种状态是很有杀伤性的。
So I want to make a distinction between being upset and getting upset. They're actually 2 different things.
那我现在呢，想区分一下，一个是 being upset and getting upset，一个是 ，sorry Marge，could you help me？
I'll explain it.
OK，就妈，sorry， Marge 刚才说的就有2种状态，他要解释一下这其中的区别。他现在来解释一下这种状态是怎么回事啊？
Standing in the line is upsetting. Standing for 10 minutes is upsetting when it should only take 2 minutes.
那就比如说呢，就是站在这个队伍里边去排队，比如说你要排10分钟的队，那就会让你觉得很气恼。
But allowing yourself to remain upset, that's different.
但是呢，允许你自己处于气恼的这个状态和这个事儿让你气恼，这是2件事儿。
In other words, you get in your car and you're still upset. You get home and you're still upset.
换句话说，就是当你在排队的时候，你气那么一会儿就得了。但是呢，你如果要是到你的这个车里边，你还在生气，或者回家之后还在生气，这就不对了。
You're cursing the cashier. So slow, so stupid.
然后你后面呢还在诅咒这个收银的这个收银员，怎么这么慢呢？
Yeah. So it's like we're inflicting suffering upon ourselves, but we don't have to.
这就好像是我们让这个痛苦就来影响我们，但其实我们是不需要被这个痛苦所影响的。
Can any of you give an example when you've done that to yourself?
有没有哪位奉献者能够给我们一个例子？就是之前也有过这样的自己亲身的经历。有吗？
When you've reacted in a way that you got very upset and you could have not been upset if you controlled it.
就是你生气了，然后呢，但是其实如果你要是能够控制住这个气氛的话，你后面其实可以不生气的。
Never happened to anybody?
这样的事情没有发生过在任何的人身上吗？
Or it's too embarrassing to.
或者说呢，就是太尴尬了，不好意思说呢。
Okay, we have in the chat.
Gabby Maji said, when I was younger, I was angry doing hours with my mom for a discussion. It leads to much harm to my psychic and emotions. 就是当我在还年轻的时候呢，我就经常会因为和我妈妈有过一个探讨而让我愤怒好几个小时。那么这个对于我的这个心灵和情感都有很大的伤害。
Now, we're not saying her mother didn't do the wrong thing, but it was the wrong way to respond to it.
但是我们并没有说就是他的妈妈在做错的事儿，而是呢，这是一个错误的应对的方式。然后盖比玛吉说我在折磨我自己。
You know, sometimes there's a very disturbing situation and someone will say, what do you think about that?
那有的时候呢，就是当人在一种非常被打扰的这种状况下的时候，人就会问你，你会对这件事怎么想呢？
And if the situation is very disturbing, then the right response is, I don't think about it.
那如果要是这个情况是非常的搅扰人的话，那么正确的应对的做法就会说，我不想想这件事情。
And then people say, why don't you think about it? It's important.
那然后人们就会问你，你为什么不想想这件事呢？这件事其实很重要的。
There's two reasons. Number one, me thinking about it isn't going to change anything. And number two, me thinking about it just disturbs me and it's not healthy for me.
那两个原因我不想。第一个呢，就是如果我要是继续想它的话，也不可能有任何的改变。第二个我不想它的原因呢，是因为我如果想它，它就会让我始终处在打扰的状态，这对于我来说也没有什么益处。
So in order to protect ourselves, we need a strategy of how to deal with difficult people, critical people, and difficult situations that we face.
那所以说呢，我们就需要有一个策略来应对我们所面对的不好的这种状况，以及对我们老是批评的那些人。
And if you don't have a good strategy for it,
那如果你要是没有一个好的策略去应对的话，
then you won't be able to protect yourself.
那你就没有办法保护自己了。
Okay, Nadia has a story.
OK，我现在依然还恨一些在4个月之前编出关于我的一些故事的那些奉献者。这使我就是这个故事呢，毁掉了我和其他奉献者之间的关系。现在呢，所有的一切都没事儿了。But I am struck in the past because in the is， 但是呢，但是就是因为我还有这样的想法，所以呢，我现在依然还是被过去的事情所打击着。
That's a good example.
这是一个很好的例子。
So Nadia, next time it happens, how will you deal with it differently?
那么 Nadia，
Or how could you deal with it differently?
那 Nadia Mataji 就是下次当这样的事情再发生的时候，你将怎么能够有不同的方式去应对呢？
She's typing her answer.
他在答案。
Yeah, I can say I didn't know that I can unmute myself. So whatever they do, it's their karma. How I react, it's my karma. So yeah, I should say within the realm of my own integrity and control only my actions, because this is the only thing in this world I have control of.
Yeah, very good answer.
那 Nadia Mataji 刚才的回答呢，就是说，就是他们怎么做是他们的业报，那我怎么回应呢？是我的业报。那么对于我来说呢，我只能够控制住我自己的行为。那么在这个世界呢，这也是唯一我能够控制的事情。然后咕噜说，这是一个非常好的回答。
It's a kinder way to deal with yourself.
所以说呢，这是一个更好的、更良善的去应对自己的方式。
So what I'm trying to point out is that if we allow ourselves to become disturbed by so many situations, think about this as an act of a lack of self-care.
那我的意思呢，就是说，当我们允许自己被很多的情况去搅扰的时候，那我们要想想，这个其实是我们自己对自己不够关爱了，所以才会这样。
Let's say you scrape yourself and it starts to bleed.
那就比如说你在使劲的这个刮自己、挠自己，然后这个皮肤开始流血了，
And then you pour salt on it.
然后呢，你又在这个伤口上撒上盐。
We have this saying, when you make something worse, you're pouring salt on the wound.
那我们在英文里面就有这么一个说法，就是如果你要是把这个事情搞得更糟的话，也就意味着是在伤口上撒盐。
So somebody hurts me, that's the bruise. Now my hand is cut.
那就比如说有人要是伤到我了的话，那也就意味着就是这个是那个就是青子的那个青子，然后像我这个手被切坏了。
And then I throw salt on it. That stupid idiot, he doesn't, doesn't even deserve to be called a human being. I'm just throwing salt on it.
就是因为我已经被别人伤到了，伤到之后呢，我自己还在往我这个受伤的这个地方撒盐。撒盐的方式呢，就是我在说，哎呀，你看这个人实在是太傻了，他简直是个白痴，他简直太是个傻瓜哈。
Have you ever done that before?
所以我们以前有没有这样做过呢？
Yeah. So when Krishna says the mind is the enemy, this is a good example of how the mind is the enemy.
那所以说，当 Sri Krishna 说心意是敌人的时候，那刚才这个例子就是一个很好的解释心意是敌人的例子。
And one of the premises of Bhagavad Gita is that you can't change what's going on outside of you, but you can only change how you respond to what's going on outside of you.
那么在《博伽梵歌》里面的其中的一个教导就告诉我们，其实我们是没有办法去改变我们外在的环境的，但是我们可以改变我们内心的环境。
And it's interesting that even though that is central to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, we often miss that.
非常有意思的一件事情就是，虽然说这是《博伽梵歌》的其中的一个非常核心的教导，但是我们经常呢会把这个教导给忽略了。
There's also, there's another strategy given in the Bhagavatam that we think whatever suffering is there, it was deserved, or I earned it through my past actions.
那在圣典博伽瓦坛里面呢，还给了另外一个很有意思的一个策略，就是任何我们所受到的苦，其实都是我们咎由自取，这都是由于我们过去的罪恶行为所致。
So sometimes when I'm mistreated, or at least a more advanced devotee will think, probably I mistreated this devotee or in this life or another life, or I mistreated other people and I'm getting a reaction.
所以有的时候呢，就是当我们被虐待或者是被这个误解的时候，至少这个更加高深亲近的奉献者，他就会在想，也许可能我在上一世或者是在其中的某一世，我曾经欺负过这个奉献者，所以呢，在这一世我才会这样被对待。
Or we will think, let's say someone's attacking us, we will think, okay, Krishna wants to see how humble I am, how tolerant I am.
或者说呢，就是如果有人要是攻击我们了的话，那我们就在想，那现在是 Krishna 希望能够看到我们是如何的谦卑。
They're accusing me of doing something I didn't do.
然后呢，他们在指责我做了一些我其实并没有做的事儿。
So how am I going to respond? Am I going to fight back?
那我要怎么去应对呢？我是反击吗？
Or am I going to think, I guess Krishna is helping me become more humble?
或者说呢，我在想是 Krishna 他在帮助我，让我变得更加的谦卑。
So the point is, we're going to respond to everything.
那所以呢，这个要点就是说，我们是会对任何一件事情做出反应的。
But when there's more self-care, when we have the consciousness of self-care, we're going to respond in ways which won't be destructive to our well-being.
但是如果我们要是能够关爱自己的话，那我们所应对的方式就不会以伤害我们自己的健康的这个方式来应对了。
And it's important to catch ourselves when we're reacting in ways that are detrimental, so we can recognize it and deal with it.
而且还有很重要的一点就是，当我们以非常有伤害性的方式在做出应对的时候，我们应该注意到这一点，我们应该意识到这一点。
Does that make sense to you?
这个大家能理解吗？觉得合理吗？
Yes, no, maybe.
咱们大家能不能做出点反应？姑儿在问。
Makes sense to you, don't it, Kelly?
Yes, yes, Marge, a lot. Lina Rani said that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say. Any questions?
那所以呢，这就是我想说的。请问大家有没有任何的问题？ Hare Krishna， 亲爱的大家，如果大家有任何的问题，或者是有任何的想和姑姑说的，现在就赶紧说了啊。
Lenny, we can talk about. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, Nadia Maji has her hand raised.
Okay, you want to say something? Okay.
Yes, thank you so much. I just wanted to ask you one question. So what is better for us to stay in a negative environment from external perspective, negative environment that forces us to become humble, tolerant, kind, so it forces us to develop good qualities, or should we leave this environment and stay in a more positive environment that helps us externally practice Krishna consciousness? What is better? If my question is not clear, maybe.
You have the choice to do either one. Is that what you're saying? If you have
yeah, so if you have this choice, yeah,
Okay.
for example.
这个 Nadia Maji 的这个问题呢，就是说，如果要是有两种选择哈，其中一种选择呢，是非常的搅扰我的一种环境，但是呢，这种环境可以训练我变得更加的谦卑。那么另外一种环境呢，就是可以让我出离这种非常搅扰的环境，而到一个更加的相对平和的外在的这种环境中去更好的训练，我修习我的 Krishna 知觉。那么对于我来说，哪一种环境更加的好呢？更加有益呢？
From the highest perspective, you would go where you have your service.
那么从更高的角度来说呢，你要去到那个你要做服务的地方。
And you would do your service no matter what.
然后呢，无论是怎么样一种状态，你都必须要去做你的服务。
But if it's having a detrimental effect on you, then you'll need to go to the more positive environment.
但是呢，如果要是这个环境已经对你产生了一种很大的伤害性的话，那么你就需要去一个更加的健康的环境里。
Because if that negative environment is negatively impacting your bhakti and you can't really advance in that environment, then that's not healthy for you.
因为如果是这个很负面的这种环境已经影响了你的 bhakti， 没有办法让你在 bhakti 中取得进步的话，那让你继续待在这样的环境里面，对你是没有帮助的。
But if you're more advanced, then you could deal with any situation and you'll just go where the service is needed.
但是如果你要是已经处在一个更加精进的状态的话，那你就可以去任何一个只要你需要做服务的那个地方。
It's kind of like going to battle.
这就好像是上战场。
So you have to know what you can fight.
那所以呢，你就必须要知道你是不是可以作战。
You know, there's a purport. I think it's in the CC.
我想是在 Chaitanya Charitamrita 里面有一段要旨。
It's in relation to Nityananda Prabhu saving Jagai and Madhai.
那么这段呢是关于朱尼天南的跑步拯救加盖和马代的。
So we understand that nobody could save them but Lord Nityananda.
那我们就理解，除了这个朱尼天南的之外，没有任何一个人能够解救他们。
So Prabhupada was saying that if we tried to do that, we would fail.
然后 Srila Prabhupada 他就说呢，try to do the things as Lord Nityananda Prabhu
Yeah,
do.
yeah, try to save Jagan Madhai.
Srila Prabhupada 说，如果要是我们要是像朱尼天南的 Prabhu 那样努力去，就是试图要救加盖摩代的话，我们肯定会失败的。
And then he mentioned that we shouldn't attempt to do something which is impossible for us, or it's not likely for us to succeed at doing.
然后呢，Srila Prabhupada 就说呢，我们不应该企图去做一些我们不可能完成的事情，或者就是说我们看起来是没有办法成功做到的事情。
So you have this ideal. What would you do if you were a pure devotee? And then what do you actually have to do according to your level?
那所以说呢，我们就会有这样的一种想法，就如果要是我们已经是很精进的、纯粹的奉献者的话，会做什么？但是要再想一想，就我们在现在目前自己实际的情况下应该怎么做。
And then if you realize that, well, it's better to be in the favorable environment because that's the level I'm at, then just do it without regret. And don't be thinking, oh, actually, I shouldn't be here. I really should be over there. And, no, you just accept that this is best for you right now and don't worry about it.
但是如果要是我们现在就处在这样一个环境里面的话，那我们也应该既来之则安之，而不应该在想，哎呀，我其实不应该在这个环境里面，我应该在一个更好的环境里面，不要这样，而只是就既然在这儿了，那么就尽量的去在这个环境中去做好。
And then when you're more advanced, you won't have that question because it won't be a problem.
那我想，如果你要是你要是比现在更加进步的话呢，你就不会有这个问题，因为呢，这也对于你来说就不会是一个问题了。
And so, of course, that's what Prabhupada did.
那当然，这就是舍拉帕帕所做的。
He went into the jungle of New York City.
舍拉帕帕呢，他就进到了纽约城的森林中。
And he was missing Vrindavan. It was not a favorable situation.
那么当时呢，舍拉帕帕他是非常思念文达文的，因为纽约对他来说一点也没有益处。
But he said, I never for a moment did not feel that my guru was with me. So in that sense, it was always positive.
但是呢，舍拉帕帕说，他没有一刻不觉得他的咕噜没有和他在一起，所以从这个角度来讲呢，这是很积极的。
And I don't think Prabhupada would have been happy if he came back defeated.
那如果要是舍拉帕帕他要是被击败了又回来的话，那他其实也是不会开心的。
So essentially the answer is you have to do what you have to do.
那所以说呢，这个问题回答的核心就是你必须要做你必须要做的事情。
Another profound statement. You have to do what you have to do.
那这又是一个具有非常深刻意义的陈述，就是你必须要去做你要做的事情。
Don't try for what you can't do just because you should do it. It's just because it's the ideal. Don't try for it until you can actually do it.
但是呢，不要去做那些你做不到的事情，就不要试着去做那些你做不到的事情，因为那只不过是一个很理想的状态，去做不到的事情。
Nadia is going to give an example.
那Nadia要现在给我们一个实际的例子。
Thank you so much. Yeah, the idea is more than clear now, but I just have this example, like, for example, you stay in a family in which you have to cook meat, your husband smokes and forces you to break the fourth regulative principle and something like that. So your external practice is undermined. You cannot follow the four regulative principles perfectly. Your rounds are not very good because, for example, you have a lot of children and then you have to take care of them. So you stay in this environment, and it's a perfect place to develop your tolerance, humility, kindness, forgiveness, and so on. But externally, you can't follow these principles. So it undermines your practice. So, and at the same time, it's your duty to be with these people, but you cannot follow Krishna consciousness properly. So what is better in this case? if we have a choice, of course. I'm not talking about leaving a family,
Yeah.
but
This
because
question was
I've
asked to Prabhupada.
yeah, because I'm kind of have this something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're not
Thank you.
married, so
Luckily, not now.
yeah. You're assuming it's going to be like that when you get married.
Yeah, because that's what we get. That's what you get when you get married in Russia.
You get a meat eater who smokes.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, if you're going to marry a meat eater who smokes, not a good idea.
是这样的啊，就是刚才纳迪亚玛吉他举的这么一个例子，就是在俄罗斯有这么一个普遍的常态，就是当这个结婚了之后呢，可能就会结婚的这个丈夫可能是吃肉的，然后呢会抽烟也会喝酒，那然后呢但是他必须要和这个家人一起生活，所以就导致了在他内心里面可能是很好的在这样的一种状态下去修行自己的内心，但在外在情况来讲呢，他就没有办法很好的去遵循四项规范原则，然后呢也没有办法很好的去修习他的 Krishna 知觉，所以呢在这样的这种情况下，又不离开家人的这种情况下，应该怎么办呢？那么 Nadia Maji 其实现在是没有结婚的，所以不如就是说，那你的意思就是说，等你以后结婚了以后，你会处在这样一个情况吗？因为 Nadia Maji 刚才说这些就是我可能要处在的一种状态中，然后不如就说，如果你要是嫁给一个吃肉的、喝酒的、抽烟的这么一个人，这个不是一个好的事情。
So this question was asked to Prabhupada, as I said.
当然刚才我也说了，就是 Sri Prabhupada 也曾经被问及过这个问题。
And Prabhupada gave an answer which was not a detailed answer, but a general answer from which you could make a personal decision.
那么 Sri Prabhupada 当时给这个答案的时候呢，他给的是一个普世的答案，它并不是一个非常细致的答案。他的意思就是说，可以按照你自己的实际情况去进行一下这个应对。
So because every situation is unique, Prabhupada gave a general answer, not a practical answer.
那所以说呢，因为每一个情况它都是有它自己的特性的，所以呢 Sri Prabhupada 他就给了一个普世的回答。
And his answer was, do what is favorable for your bhakti and avoid what is unfavorable.
那 Sri
That was
Prabhupada 的
his-
这个
No detail. In other words, you figure it out.
那 Sri Prabhupada 的这个回答呢，就是你要做的这个方法呢，是要有利于你的 bhakti， 而要避免做那些不利于你的 bhakti 的那些事情。然后 Sri Prabhupada 没有再给任何的细节，意思就是说你自己需要去搞定。
Or at least we can say, try to arrange the situation as far as possible so it can be as favorable as possible.
那所以呢，就是尽量有可能的让自己去安排处在这样一种处境，然后呢，让这个环境是有利于我们修习 bhakti 的。
It often Prabhupada would say, like, you can be more Krishna conscious in a situation like that than you sometimes think you can be. So that's another answer.
Sorry, Marge.
You can be in a negative situation. You can often be more Krishna conscious than you think you can be.
OK，那说爸爸就说呢，就是其实经常我们处在这个负面的这种环境下的时候，我们其实能够让自己更加的具有 Krishna 知觉，比自己想象能够成为的 Krishna 知觉要更好的一种状态。
At the same time, you need to maintain at least a minimal satisfactory amount of sadhana to stay spiritually healthy, and you can't compromise that, and you have to work it out with your family so you don't compromise that.
但是呢，与此同时呢，我们至少要做足够量的 sadhana， 那么这样呢才能够让我们保持灵性上的健康，因为这个是我们不可以妥协的。那我们可以一边应对着我们的家人，一边呢要做我们足够的 sadhana 的修习。
So like one devotee told me her husband didn't want her chanting, so she had to do it while he was asleep.
那就比如说呢，有奉献者对我说，她的丈夫不想让她念诵，那所以就得等着丈夫睡着之后，她来念。
or do it somewhere where he didn't see her. So she didn't give it up. She just had to make an adjustment.
或者说呢，就是在她丈夫没有看着她的这个情况下，在那个时间段里面去念诵，就她必须要做出一些调整。Marge, you want to hear some of the messages on the chat? You're going to say more.
Okay. Okay.
下面呢是 Winda David 的问题哈。我会在想，我上一世做了些什么，这一世又做了些传道，导致现在有这么多病痛，有时候会让我无法忍受。我很想改变，可是我不知道如何。我会想我在上一世做了些什么，我这一世又做了些什么，导致现在有这么多病痛，有时候会让我无法忍受。我很想改变，可是我不知道该怎么做，有时候真的会很沮丧。Winda David said that sometimes I'm trying to figure out what I have been done for my previous life and what I have been done for this life to make me to suffer this much physical pains. And sometimes it's very hard for me to tolerate those pains. I really want to change the situation. However, I don't know what to do. Sometimes I was really very depressed and frustrated. And then she keeps saying, 我感觉自己这一世就是这么受苦，我一点也不想再回到这个世界，太糟糕了。And sometimes I just feel that the reason for me to come to this world is for suffering. I don't want to come back to this world again. It's really stressful.
Yeah. So maybe the only way you could become that detached is by undergoing suffering. And Krishna knows that. So he's actually helping you.
那么也许你可能就真的是要通过受这么多苦，才能够达到气绝的境界。那么 Sri Krishna 他知道，所以 Sri Krishna 才会安排你受这些苦。
So now you're very detached.
那所以现在呢，你就很不依附。
And if all the pain goes away, you may become very attached.
因为呢，如果要是所有的这些痛苦要是离你而去了的话，那你可能就会变得很依附了。
It's possible.
这是有可能的。
So now maybe you don't want to pray to Krishna for the pain to go away. Maybe that's dangerous.
所以说，现在你可能就不想向Sri Krishna 祈祷，让 Krishna 把所有的这些痛苦都给拿走，因为如果把这些痛苦都拿走了的话，对你来说可能是很危险的状态。
You know, maybe you would become very materially attached, and Krishna knows that. So he won't let you because your body's causing you pain.
那因为是 Krishna， 就是也许可能你就会变得非常的对物质依附。那么是 Krishna 就知道这一点，所以呢 Krishna 他就不会允许这一点，所以呢 Krishna 他会让你还是处在这个身体的痛苦之中。
That's one way of seeing it.
那么这是其中看这个问题的一个角度。
We have to be more accepting of the reality of our situation.
但是呢，我们要更加的去接受我们在实际中的状态。
That'll actually help you heal as well.
因为呢，这也会能够帮助我们得到治愈。
Friend Devi, this life is insignificant in universal time.
Winda David 就是从宇宙的时间来说呢，我们这一世其实是非常的微不足道的。
And also, every life we've lived in the material world is just like a little dream.
而且呢，就是我们在这个物质世界所生的每一个生世，都像是一个小梦一样。
It's really insignificant.
所以呢，是非常的微不足道的。
And in a few more seconds, you can go back to Godhead.
但是呢，就在那么几秒钟之内，你就有可能回到守神的身边了。
And if you can tolerate living in this body for a few more years, then you go back to Godhead and all your problems are solved.
所以，如果你要是能够容忍在这个躯体中再活上几年的话，那么你就能够回到守神身边去了，然后那会儿所有的问题都解决了。
Having a material body is, it's a problem.
这个物质躯体它本来就是一个麻烦，
Having a material mind is more of a problem.
那有了物质的心意，那这就麻烦更大。
And whether your body's healthy or not healthy, it's still a problem to have a body because it makes demands.
那无论我们的这个身体是处在健康还是不健康的状态，我们依然还是处在麻烦之中，因为我们依然有这个物质的躯体，因为这个物质躯体呢，它就会有各种各样的这个这个发号出使令，
Vacho vegam always wants to talk. Talk.
它就总会有各种各样的这个需求，比如说 watch vegan， 他就会说，他就会讲话，不断的讲话。
Krodha, anger, everything disturbs us.
crow 的愤怒，所有的这一切呢，都会搅扰着我们。
The tongue wants to eat everything. Jiva vegam.
jiva vegan， 我们这个舌头呢，想要吃所有的东西。
Udara vegam, the belly.
udara vegan， 还有我们的
Hungry, always hungry.
我们的这个胃也是在不断的催涌，始终
Vacho
都处在饥
vegam,
饿的状态。
manasakota vegam. Jiva vegam, udara pasta vegam. That's just what it means to have a body. You just be bothered by all these things.
那所以呢，这就是身体存在的意义，也就意味着我们时刻都是在被所有的这些事情所搅扰着。
And no matter where you go, got to take your body with you.
因为你无论去到哪里，你都得带着你这个身体去。
And your body's going to want to talk. It's going to get upset. It's going to want to eat. It's going to want to sleep. It's going to want to think about sex and sense gratification.
那因为你的这个躯体，它想要讲话，然后呢，它想要吃东西，然后呢，它想要这个享受，比如说呢，还想着有这种性方面的这个需求，各种各样的感官上的享乐，这躯体总是有各种各样的要求。
Healthy or unhealthy, it's just difficult to have a body.
无论是健康的躯体还是不健康的躯体，有这个躯体就是个大麻烦。
And then the mosquitoes come, and they bite you.
然后呢，这个蚊子就跑过来了，然后咚的一下就叮了你一口。
That's called the misery caused by other living entities.
那这个被称为就是由其他的生物体给我们造成的痛苦。
And then your mother-in-law drives you crazy. That's also part of the misery of other living entities.
然后呢，你的婆婆呢也要把你给弄疯了，这也是其他的生物体给你造成困苦的表现形式之一。
Then you get a stomach ache because you couldn't control your eating. And so now you get misery from your body.
然后这会儿呢，由于你没有办法控制自己的进食，所以呢，这会儿因为吃了东西之后就胃痛了，那所以呢，这是身体给我们造成来的痛苦。
Then it gets really cold or really hot. So then you get misery from outside.
然后这会儿呢，我们又感到或者特别冷或者特别热，那这会儿呢，这个痛苦就是由外界给我们造成的。
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's
所以先生们、女士们，
that's the name of the game.
所以呢，这就是我们玩的游戏。
And in between all that, if we can get a little sense gratification, we think it's all that suffering is worth it. I got my sense gratification.
就是当我们在受所有的这各方面的来的这个苦之余，我们得到一点点的感官享乐上的快乐，我们就会觉得，所有的这一切都是值得的，因为使我的感官得到了满足。
The rich people are suffering, not just the poor people.
这些富人们，他们其实也是在受苦的，并不仅仅是穷人在受苦。
Often they're more depressed than the poor people.
事实上，很多时候，富人比穷人要更痛苦。 Thank you much. More.
Yeah, one more thing for Vrinda, just relax.
那还有跟 Vida 说一句话，就是一定要放松下来。
As the more upset you get about your health, the sicker you're going to get.
因为就是你越是不对你自己的这个不健康的状况不开心的话，那你就会病得更严重。
If Krishna wants you to get healthy, it'll happen, even if you don't try.
就是如果要是 Krishna 想让你健康起来的话，你根本就不需要做任何的努力，你就健康起来了。
I have that experience many times.
那我自己呢，就这一点有很多的亲身的经历。
Okay, next.
Marge, thank you so much. 下面这个问题呢是来自于 Shirley 的。I discussed with my boss to adjust my salary. I will feel very worthless because my salary is too low and my workload is high for a long time, which is not enough to cover my monthly expenses. I felt very upset after the discussion and the salary has no change. I have no motivation to go to work. It bothers me that I can't do anything all day. I can't control my depression and constantly criticize my incompetence. Shirley 的这个他说呢，就是我和我的老板就谈了一个涨工资的这个事情，因为我觉得自己特别的无能，因为我觉得我自己就特别没有价值，因为我的工资太低了，而且呢，我工作的这个量又很大，这都已经很长一段时间都是这样的一个状态，所以呢，而且我的这个工资根本就没有办法让我去支付我这一个月的所有的花销，所以我就感到很不开心。但是呢，在我和老板谈了这个事情之后呢，也没有任何的变化，所以我现在根本就没有动力去上班了。这个让我也感到很被打扰。我一整天也干不了什么事儿，我也没有办法去控制我自己的沮丧，而且在恒常不断的在批评着我自己的无能。
Is she saying if her salary is more, she won't be depressed? Is that
那
what she
您
means?
let's ask her。那您的意思是说，如果要是您的工资要是涨起来的话，您就不会沮丧了吗？Is Shirley speak English or Chinese? Shirley, this is a question from Marge to you. Do you mean if you have a higher salary, then you won't feel depressed? 您在哪里啊？您能不能
Yeah, I feel maybe more motivation and how I feel happier too.
What? Because you're saying because you'll feel more self-worth? Is that why? You'll feel more valuable?
Yes.
那这个Shirley 她的意思呢，就是如果她的工资能再高一点的话呢，她就觉得自己更有价值，就可能更有动力。
Materially, that's true. Spiritually, it's not true.
物质的角度来说呢，是这么回事儿，但是从灵性的角度来讲呢，不是这么回事儿。
You're the same person no matter how much you make.
因为无论你挣钱挣了多少，你还是那个人，同样的那个人。
So if you make more, you're more respectable in the eyes of others.
所以说，如果你要是能够在别人的 you make sorry, Mark, could you say it again?
She makes more money, she'll be respected by others.
OK，就如果你要是能够赚更多钱的话，好像在别人眼前就能够受到更多的尊敬。
Yeah. So obviously your self-worth is not based on your income.
但是呢，就是你的自我价值并不是基于你的每个月的个人收入的。
That's a very socially conditioned idea.
那因为如果是那个基于工资的这个价值呢，这其实是一个就是非常社交性的想法。
Because you're being judged by your income.
因为呢，你是由于你的这个工资的这个收入而被评判着。
Which ultimately has nothing to do with your self-worth.
但是呢，其实终极来说，这和你的自我价值没有关系。
And if you're trying to be a devotee, then you're the most rare and exalted of all human beings.
但如果你要是努力成为一名奉献者的话，那么奉献者他是在所有的人类中最罕见的、最崇高的一种人类。
So I would suggest you evaluate your self-worth on different standards.
那所以呢，我对你的建议呢，就是用不同的标准来衡量您自己的自我价值。
Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhai. It's very rare that someone takes up spiritual life.
那就像Sri Krishna 在《博家放歌》里面讲的，很少有人能够开始进行灵性的生活。
Yatatam api siddhanam. And even of those who take up spiritual life, hardly one becomes a devotee, and you've become a devotee. So you're very special.
而且呢，就是在这些进行灵性生活的人中，也很少有人能够成为奉献者。可是您却成为了奉献者，所以呢，这是一个非常特别的情况。
And if ordinary people who lack spiritual insight respect us or don't respect us, that doesn't really say much because they're evaluating us on material standards.
那就是从这个物质人的这个角度，他们对我们的评判，无论他们对于我们是尊敬也好，或者是不尊敬也罢，其实这个并不说明什么问题，因为他们只是从物质的角度去衡量。
And if your self-worth is based on externals, it's very precarious because those externals can change all the time.
那其实如果要是你把你的这个对自我价值的这个评判仅仅是依靠外在的这个事物来衡量的话，那这其实是非常的不稳定的一种状态。原因就是由于外在的这种情况，它是在不断的变化的。
I have a good story for you, Shirley.
Shirley，我有一个挺好的故事可以跟你分享。
There's a show on the internet.
在互联网上有这么一个剧，
I can't remember the name,
我记不住这名字了。
but the show was built up over time, and they finally launched the show, and it became a huge success overnight.
OK，就是这个表演呢，它是一点儿点儿积累起来的。然后突然之间呢，他们就把所有这个积累起来的这个剧呢，就把它给发出来了。然后在这个一夜之间呢，就爆红了。
And overnight, the creator of the show became very wealthy and very famous.
那然后在一夜之间呢，这个编这个剧的这个人，他就变得非常的富有，而且变得很出名。
And then he shared his realization.
然后呢，这个人他就分享了他的觉悟。
He said, I'm exactly the same person I was yesterday when nobody knew me and I didn't have all this money.
他说呢，我其实还是跟昨天的那个一模一样的人，但是昨天呢，没有任何一个人认识我，而且呢，我也没有这么多钱。
So you know who you are. And that's most important, what you think of yourself, not what others think of yourself.
所以说呢，你自己知道你是谁，那这是最重要的，就是你知道你自己是一个怎么样的人，而别人认为你是什么样的一个人是不重要的。
And if you allow yourself to think of yourself based on what other people think of you, that can be quite unsettling or dangerous even.
但是如果要是你允许自己去按照别人去评判你的那个想法去认识自己的话，去认为自己的话，那这是一个非常危险的状态。
Nadia has a comment for Shirley.
We can and also we cannot externally satisfy our need to be respected unless we respect ourselves. No external validation will ever give us what we really need. 他就说呢，而且呢，我们也没有办法 这个从外在来使我们得到我们的需求，除非我们自己要去这个尊敬我们自己，别人对我们的尊敬其实没有办法满足我们的外在的需求的。
So, if people judge us based on our income or our job, then we should understand those people are very what we call shallow. You understand the word shallow? Not
Yes.
deep, not deep.
Yes. 那么就是如果要是就是我们如果要是就是认知别人，只是去按照我们的这个工资还有我们的这个社会地位来判断我们的话，那其实我们就觉得这个人是非常肤浅的。
So surely what you think about yourself is what's most important, not what other people think about you.
那么所以说你自己觉得你自己是一个什么样的人，对你来说是最重要的，而并不是别人怎么样的去认知你。
So if you value yourself, that's what's most important.
那所以说呢，你珍视你自己，这是最重要的。
And Prabhupada said something really interesting. He said, if you can please Krishna and it's not very difficult, then what more could you desire?
那么沙尔爸爸说了一个很有意思的话，他说，如果你要是能够取悦 Krishna 的话，而且取悦 Krishna 也并不是一件那么难的事儿。那如果你要能取悦 Krishna，那你还想要求得什么其他更多的事情呢？
There's a prayer by Madhvacharya, and more or less he's saying, I don't really care what other people think because I'm relishing my relationship with Krishna. So they might think I'm crazy or stupid. Doesn't really matter to me.
然后 Madhvacharya 他有这么一个祈祷，他的祈祷的这个意思大概是这样的，就是我根本就不在乎别人对我到底是怎么想的，因为别人的这个想法呢，也许是这个，就是也许别人他会认为我是疯狂的，但是我无所谓，因为我只在乎的是和您之间的关系。
Did that answer your question or did I miss the essence of it?
Shirley，我有没有回答你的问题，还是我没有抓到你这个问题的实质？Shirley，您能回答一下吗？
Yes.
So you're not depressed anymore?
所以呢，你现在就已经不太沮丧了，对吗？
I'll try to change my mind.
Yeah, you're being very, it sounds like it's a very conditioned perspective.
那我现在呢，Shirley 刚才说我要这个努力的改变我自己的心意，然后呢，姑姑说这好像是一个就是很受限制的一种
You
视
know,
角。
in our society, surely the people that are respected are the business people, the athletes, and the actors and the rock stars. Those are the most respected people. That's the society we live in.
那就我们现在所生活的这个社会呢，人们最尊敬的人是商业上的巨甲，然后呢是那些运动员们，还有这个影星们，就他们会受到很多的尊敬。
In traditional society, it's those who are wise. They're the most respected.
但是呢，在这个传统的时代，那些非常有智慧的人是最被受到尊敬的人。
Now, actually, all you need is a pretty face and a nice body, and you get all the respect you could ever want. And
而现在，
you can be whatever kind of person, a bad person.
那现在的这个人，只要想要获得尊敬的话，他只需要的就是一个漂亮的脸蛋儿，还有一个好的身材，然后呢，去做任何乌七八糟的事情都无所谓，但是他就能够得到尊敬。
So if we see how shallow the values of society is, then we wouldn't want to play into that to gain our own self-respect.
那所以说呢，当我们看到这个社会对于价值的认知是多么肤浅的时候，我们就不希望让自己也卷入其中，并且以这样的方式去赢得自己的那种个人的价值。
Surely after class, you go out, pick a flower, bring it, offer it to Krishna. Krishna will accept it. What more could you ask than that? Krishna is pleased with you.
那么 Shirley 在下课之后呢，你就去采一朵花儿，然后呢，把这个花儿呢就献给 Sri Krishna 就会很开心。那如果这样的话，你还想欲求其他的什么呢？因为 Krishna 已经被你所取悦了。
Now I'll tell you something really interesting.
那我现在告诉你一个非常有意思的事情：
When we were young,
当我们年轻的时候，
if we were disrespected by society, that made us very happy.
如果我们要是不被这个社会所尊敬的话，我们就感到特开心。
Because we understood that their values were materialistic. So we felt awkward if they respected us. That was bad because that meant we were like them.
因为我们觉得就是对于这个当时的社会的尊敬的标准是物质驱使的。那我们觉得，如果他们要是在这样的标准下来尊敬我们的话，那我们就会感到很尴尬，因为我们不想成为那种物质的状态的人。
So if they said to us, "You're crazy," we would say, "Thank you. I appreciate that."
所以，如果要是人们对我们说你是疯子，那我们就会觉得特别的开心，我们就会对他们说谢谢。
And they'd say, "Why?" And say, "Because you're basically telling me I'm not like you, and that makes me really happy."
然后呢，人就会问我，你为什么会还这么讲，会这么来谢谢我呢？我就会说，因为你对我的这个反应，也就意味着在告诉我，我和你不是一样的，那这让我感到很开心。
So yeah, it's quite opposite of what you're expressing.
那所以呢，就是当时我们的那个状况和您现在所谈到的这个状况刚好是相反的状况。
Another thing, surely, that can help you.
这里还有另外一件事情，我可以帮到你。
I was listening to a lecture today by Prabhupada.
那今天呢，我就听到了一节说了帕帕讲的课，
And he was saying, your work is your punishment.
然后说了帕帕说呢，你的工作是对你的惩罚，
So people are working very hard.
所以人们呢是很努力的在工作。
And Prabhupada is saying, this is your punishment.
然后呢，说帕帕说呢，这就是对你的惩罚。
So we don't want to punish ourselves by trying to become materially successful just to get the applause of a few people.
但其实呢，我们不希望让自己在物质上取得成功，然后以这样的方式来惩罚自己，只是去获得极少人的喝彩。
So it's it's the social pressure of the modern culture.
所以呢，这个是在现代文化中我们受到的社会的压力而导致的。
And by that standard, the brahmacharis are complete failures.
那如果是从这个角度上来讲，所有的这些 brahmachari 们，那就是彻底的失败者。
Practically speaking, they have nothing.
那如果从实际的角度来讲，这些 brahmachari 们他们什么都没有，
They don't even have a mat to sleep on.
他们甚至于就连一个睡觉的垫子都没有。
Total failures.
所以他们太失败了。
But they're the most successful because renunciation is the greatest opulence.
但是呢，他们又是最成功的，因为弃绝是最伟大的富裕。
They're successful because they can be happy without money.
那么他们之所以能够成功的原因呢，是由于他们可以在没有钱的情况下非常的快乐，
They can be satisfied without material possessions.
而且呢，他们也可以在没有任何物质的拥有的情况下感到心满意足。
So even today in Indian society, people recognize that the greatest people are the ones who have renounced everything.
那么即便到今天的印度，他们都承认，最伟大的人是那些弃绝了所有的物质事物的人。
So by hook or by crook, you accumulate a lot of money. Does that make you great?
By what? By hook? Sorry.
Hook or by crook, yeah. Somehow or other, you accumulate a lot of money.
OK， 那就是无论怎么样吧，你可能这个用各种各样的方法是积累了很多钱，可是那有什么帮助呢？
No, it just means you have a lot of money.
它只意味着你有好多钱。
Or it means you're a good cheater in some cases.
那或者或者呢，这也意味着在某些情况下也证明了这个人他是一个特别了不起的骗子。
I hope that helped
我希望
somewhat.
我希望我希望我这么解释也能够对你有些帮助。
So your value is in your bhakti,
那所以说呢，您的价值在于您的 bhakti 之中。
because that will please Krishna. And if Krishna is pleased with you, who cares if the whole world turns against you?
因为就是您的 bhakti 呢会取悦 Krishna， 当 Krishna 被你取悦的时候，整个这个世界都反对您，有什么问题呢？不会再在乎了。
You
more
have more? More,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, Lila Priya Radharani Mataji， 顶拜咕噜，请问咕噜，如果受到别人的攻击，语言或者身体的攻击，尤其是语言的攻击，应该怎么去应对呢？Guru Maharaj, please accept my very humble obeisances. My question is that if we have been attacked by others, especially attacked by the others in the way of language, in the way of word, what is our right way to deal with it?
Well, definitely don't attack them back.
就是肯定不能做的一件事情呢，就是还击他们。
How to deal with it's going to vary depending on the situation.
但是呢，怎么去应对呢？这个要非常的取决于当时的情况。
One way to deal with it is just laugh. If what they said is completely wrong, it's like a made-up story. You can just laugh. Oh, that was the funniest thing I ever heard.
那就说，如果就是其中有一个方式去应对的呢，就是笑一笑，一笑了之。那么，当你听到人家讲了一个完全是大相径庭的这个情况的话的时候呢，你就会笑一笑，并且说：“哎呀，这个是我听到的最有趣的事儿的。”
One devotee said, "You're a bogus guru because you have a girlfriend, and I'm going to call up your wife and tell her."
然后其中有一位奉献者，他就对我说：“他说你是一假咕噜，因为你还在外边有个女朋友，我得去告诉你的妻子这件事儿。”
And she said some other things that are so bad I don't even want to say them.
然后呢，这位奉献者呢，他还讲了好多其他的我都不想重复的一些坏话。
I just felt sorry for her.
那其实我很怎么说呢？就是我感到对这个奉献者我感到很抱歉。
So, rather than get upset, I said, why does she need to say these things?
就是我没有感到不开心，但是我就想问他，你为什么会讲这些话呢？
And she was convinced.
但是呢，他却信誓旦旦的。
This was a devotee not from China, from another country.
那么这个奉献者呢，不是来自于中国的奉献者，这是其他的某一个国家的奉献者。
And I just thought, when you try to help people, sometimes they just turn against you. What can you do? You have to keep trying to help people no matter what. And you have to go on, and you can't let these things discourage you.
那我就在想，就是当你在想要帮助人的时候，其实有的时候呢就会招恨，然后呢别人就会做一些事情来反对你。可是你又能怎么办呢？你唯一能够做到的就是不要被这些事情所搅扰，然后呢要继续的不要停止的去帮助别人。
Now, if somebody's lying about you and all your service is being taken away, then obviously you want to do something to resolve that issue.
但是呢，如果要是某人对你愤怒，使得你的服务被拿走了的话，那你需要做一些事情来解决这个问题。
Or if the person who's criticizing you, if that relationship is important, then you may want to go into some kind of mediation to resolve it.
那如果要是有人要是批评了你，而且呢，批评你的这个人和你之间还有挺重要的关系的话，那你可能需要去找一位调解员来帮助调解一下这个情况。
And if the person is close to you, of course, it's very painful.
那当然，如果这个人要是跟你很亲近的话，那你肯定会感到挺痛苦。
But it's kind of the price you have to pay for living in the material world.
但是呢，这个其实是我们生活在这个物质世界需要支付的一些这个价格。
And in that sense, it can help you become more detached.
然后这样的事情呢，它从某种意义上来讲，能够帮助我们变得更加的弃绝。
But don't in any way allow it to discourage you. That's when it becomes a problem.
但是呢，我想说的是，当麻烦显现，当它成为一个问题的时候，不要让任何事情让我们感到气馁。
Yeah, I don't know the details of your situation. I was trying to cover some possible scenarios.
因为就是我不知道你的这个情况的具体的情况是怎么回事儿，所以说我只能够从泛泛的角度去讲。
Okay, next question.
Yeah, the next one from Danishta Mataji 顶拜 Guru 这段时间经常出去瑜伽馆唱诵派书，请 Guru 给祝福。Okay. Well, she said that Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. And recently, I often go to the yoga studio to conduct the kirtan and distribute books. So please bless me for the service.
Distribute 10,000 Bhagavad Gitas tomorrow.
明天祝福你明天能够派出10000本博家梵歌。
Go to a factory and get the boss. Talk to the boss.
要去工厂，然后和工厂的老板谈谈。
And tell the boss, this would be the best Christmas present for all your workers. You should buy one book for every worker.
然后呢，你对这个工厂的老板说呢，这个书是圣诞节送给你的员工的最好的礼物，你应该为你的员工每人都买一本这书。
In every factory, you sell hundreds or thousands of books.
所以说呢，在每一个工厂里面，你都可以卖出几千本、上万本的书。
What do you think? Is it possible to do that?
您觉得怎么样？这有没有可能做到这一点呢？
It's been done in other countries.
因为在其他的国家是有这么做的。
Something to think about.
无论如何，这是给你一个思路可以去思考。She said that this is a great idea, great suggestion, very nice suggestion.
Try it and let me know how many thousands you distribute tomorrow.
那这样哈，那您就去试一试这个建议，然后呢，你要告诉我你明天能够派出多少博家梵歌。
Make sure you bring enough books.
然后你一定要确保自己带上足够的书。
And if it works, then let me know and I'll tell the GBC. They can spread the news.
如果要是这么做，要是做到了的话呢，你一定要让我知道，这样我可以向 GBC 汇报，然后呢 GBC 可以把这个消息传出去。
Yeah, you must have lots of factories in China because everything we own in America was made there.
在中国一定有很多的工厂，因为我们在美国所拥有的所有的一切全部都是在中国制造的。
My computer was made there. My phone was made there.
比如说我的电脑啊，还有我的手机啊，都是在中国制造的。
My mixer was made there.
What is?
You can't. Anyway, it's where my mic is plugged in.
OK， 就是我的这个可能有个适配器，就是一个小机器，也是在中国制造的。
My tablet is made there.
然后我的平板电脑也是在中国制造的。
The only thing I have that's not made in China is my body.
唯一的不是在中国制造的东西就是我的躯体。
But for you, it's all made in China, even your body.
但是对于你们来说呢，所有的一切都是中国制造的，你们的躯体也是在中国制造的。
Yeah, it's the only thing I have not made in China, my body.
那所以说呢，只有一样东西不是在中国制造的，就是我的躯体不是在中国制造的。
Yeah. Next question.
Yeah. The next one from 丽萍马达吉，顶拜咕噜。如果有奉献者质疑我咕噜的教导和评判其他奉献者舌头品味，我当时升起愤怒，并心里发出声音：你不是咕噜，你根本没有资格评判我的咕噜和其他奉献者。我知道当下升起愤怒就不对，但怎样去看待这个情况呢？Okay, well, when she paid her humble obeisances to you, and she said that sometimes one devotee questioning the teaching of my Guru Maharaj and also criticize the other devotees' taste, then I normally become very angry. And also, in my mind, I would tell myself that you are not guru yourself. How come you? What kind of qualification you have to judge my guru and other devotees in this way? And I know that to have this type of anger is not right for me. However, what do you think about the situation? I think she's asking, what do you think about the devotees to judge the other spiritual masters and other devotees if their teaching is right or not?
Who's asking the question?
李丽萍
Oh, yeah. Well, it's natural for a disciple to be upset if someone's criticizing their guru.
是这样的，就是当有人在批评他们的 guru 的时候，很自然的门徒就会表示出愤怒。
But if somebody feels that a spiritual master is saying something that's not proper, they can go to the GBC and discuss with them.
但如果要是有人觉得某一位灵性导师要是讲了不合适的话的话呢，他们其实应该去找 GBC 去和 GBC 去探讨。
But we should always help devotees increase faith in their gurus.
但是呢，我们总是要帮助奉献者，要提升他们对自己 guru 的信心。
So one of the worst things we can do is try to undermine somebody's faith in their guru.
所以说呢，我们不要做的，我们有一件一定不能做的一件事情，就是打击奉献者对于他们 guru 的信心。
So yeah, naturally you'll be upset.
那所以呢，很自然你会生气。
You might try to reason with that person, or you might try to talk to some higher authority and tell them to reason with that person because it's upsetting.
那你也许可能能够和讲这个话的人呢去进行一番理论，或者是呢去和更高的这个领导去探讨一下这个话题，然后呢让他们去和这个奉献者去理论一下，因为的确这个做法是挺让人生气的。
And if that guru is actually saying something wrong, then that can be presented to the leaders, and the leaders can talk to him.
但如果要是 guru 的确说了一些不合适的话或者错误的话的话呢，那么这个事情就应该呈递给 GBC， 然后呢就是或者是呈递给这个更高的领导，由更高的领导去和这位 guru 谈。
Yeah, so the main thing is that we should never undermine the faith that a devotee has in their guru.
所以呢，就是非常重要的一点，最主要的一件事情就是我们不要去贬损这位奉献者对于他们的 guru 的信心。
In some rare cases, we will find that a disciple may lose faith in their guru.
因为在有一些情况下，我们会发现可能门徒会失去他们对 guru 的信心。
So we can try to help them restore faith, and if we can't do that, we can encourage them to take shelter of someone that they have faith in.
那所以说
guru.
那所以呢，我们要做的一件事情呢，就是先要帮助他们恢复他们对 guru 的信心。那如果要是做不到这一点的话呢，那也可以帮助他们去寻找另外一位灵性导师作为他们的 shiksha guru。
So sometimes it's wrong not to be upset.
那所以有的时候不生气是错的。
if our guru is being criticized and we're not upset, there's probably something wrong with us.
就是如果要是我们的姑姑被人家指责了，然后呢我们还不生气的话，那这肯定是我们这儿出了点问题了。
Yeah, but of course, there are many devotees in ISKCON, and not everyone's going to like all the gurus, and some don't even like the fact that anybody's a guru. So,
那当然在ISKCON呢有很多奉献者，然后呢也并不是所有的人都喜欢每一位奉献者，有些人根本就不能够接受这样一个事实，就是事实就是其实每一个人都是姑姑。
or if there's something he objects to, then you write your guru and say, this is what somebody said. Can you explain this?
那或者是有人如果要是提出反对意见的话呢，您可以把这个意见写信呈递给您自己的姑姑，然后呢对姑姑说这是别人的意见，您看看怎么能够回复一下。
Okay, time's up.
Yeah, there is one last thing. Do you have time
One more?
to? Yeah.
One more. Okay.
Yeah，这个再看一下最后行说的这个事情哈。Hare Krishna 顶拜咕噜和所有的奉献者，感恩咕噜。上周末朋友说，您可以将这些书籍送给朋友做圣诞、新年或生日礼物。他说，除非对方要有点这方面的想法及觉悟，那请问用什么方式能够更好的开展并鼓励对方能够接受呢？Hang said that Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances to you and to all the devotees. Thank you very much for this nice lecture. Last weekend, I told my friend that you can give these books to your friends as a Christmas or New Year's gift.
Yes.
But my friend said that unless the recipient have some realization about this knowledge, we can give this to them.
We cannot give them to you.
Yeah, otherwise we cannot give. So her question is that, so in this case, how can we really to encourage people to start it, to have some interest, about the spiritual knowledge? In that case, we can actually give the books to them.
Well, Prabhupada's idea was you don't know where the book is going to go because they may not have interest, but then they give it to their brother, and he does.
那说爸爸的这个说法呢，就是其实我们并不知道这个书会传到哪里去。就我们把这个书传到这个人的手里，也许可能他对书没有任何的兴趣，但是呢，也许他会把这个书给他的弟弟，然后他弟弟是会有兴趣的。
And Prabhupada once said, even if they read one word, their life is successful.
然后说爸爸说呢，哪怕他们只读了一个字，那他的生命都成功了。
So even they don't understand, there's some benefit.
所以呢，就即便是他们不理解，但是也会让他们有一些获益。
So if they're willing to take the book, we should give it to them.
所以说呢，如果要是朋友愿意接受这个书的话，我们就应该把书给他们。
Because you don't know what's going to happen when they read it, or you don't know who they're going to give it to.
因为你不知道就这个书他们读过之后会发生什么，或者你也不知道他们会把这个书给谁。
But the book has greater potential in the hands of somebody than it does sitting in the warehouse.
但是呢，这个书它如果要是能够传到某一个人的手里面的话，那它所能发挥的作用就远远的大于它在这个仓库里面待着的价值。
You know, sometimes a person will say, I'm not interested, but you kind of push them and they take the book and then they read it and they find out actually they are very interested.
那比如说有些时候我们就会遇到这样一个情况，就人他就会说我对这书没兴趣，然后呢你就会这个稍微的再鼓励他一下，然后呢你就使劲把这书塞到他的手里面，然后呢他把书就拿回去了，并且他也读了，他一读呢就发现其实他对这书是很感兴趣的。
What you can do also is you can form reading groups where you read every week and you can invite people you distribute books to join an online reading group.
还有另外一个你可以做的一个事情呢，就是你可以建一个线上的读书会，然后呢就邀请您把这个书派出去的所有的这些人来参加您这个每一周的线上的读书会，大家一起来读书。
Also, if you're very blissful in Krishna consciousness, then people will think, well, if I read the book, maybe I'll become happy like him or happy like her.
那如果要是你在 Krishna 知觉中总是展现出很极乐的这种状态，很开心的状态的话，那人们就会在想，那如果我要是读了这本书的话，我就可以像他那么快乐了。
Don't you agree? If you're very happy, people will you'll say,
你
this
同
book makes you happy. Look at me, I'm happy.
你同意吗？就如果你要是自己特别的开心，然后呢，你还会跟别人讲，你看我特别开心吧，我就因为读了这书特别开心，那别人也会受到感染。She said that yes.
If you're not happy, it's not very inspiring.
但是如果要是您展现的不够开心的话呢，那这也不够能够鼓励激励其他的人。
Then they'll think, if I read the book, I'll become unhappy like her.
那人们就会在想，哎呀，那如果我要是读了书的话，我就会像他那么不开心了。
But Lord Chaitanya, his mood was, don't discriminate, just distribute to everyone, give everyone equal opportunity.
那么是 Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 的教导呢，就是我们不要去做出评判，我们不要去区分，我们要给每一个人平等的机会。
And somehow try to convince them that this book could be the most important book you ever read in your life.
那然后呢，要用无论哪种方式去说服大家，这本书是一本很重要的书，是我们这一生中要读的最重要的一本书。
That's it. No more questions.
Right, that's it. Everything. Didn't Rini Maji, sorry, Dinesh Tamaji also said that your idea for distributing the book to factory is very good because very few people in the yoga studios. And she also said that the GBC of China also blessed them to distribute book. And actually, the GBC also support them to distribute the books.
Yeah. So you go to the manager and you tell him how helpful this will be and that you should get one for every employee.
所以呢，这个 Danish Namaji 你要去找这个厂方的领导经理，去对他们说这个书是多么的有助，所以呢，要把这个书发给每一位员工。
And that make sure you bring enough books.
然后呢，你要确保您能够带着足够的书。
You'll need thousands.
您得需要好几千册书。
You know that city we went to next to, I guess it was next to where you live, Sita, that we went to the that big factory where they make yoga clothes. You remember that?
Sita 吗？你还记得吗？就是你们之前去过一个地方，那地方好像是就是您住的那个城市的旁边的那个城市，然后那有很大的一个工厂，他们会做很多的瑜伽服。
So that's near you. Near you or near Chengdu? Chengdu.
是在成都附近。Where's the city for Sita to stay?
在东莞，在东莞。
东莞。OK. The southern part of China. 东莞。
And there's
Southern
just
part
one
of China.
factory after another. It's like
Next to 广州。Next to 广州。那个地方就是排着，就是这个工厂都是一家挨着一家的。
Clothes factories, I think.
都是服装厂。
Yeah. City of factories.
就是 Danish Tamaji 您就是在东莞是吧 ？OK，
Yeah,
哇
but
，Yeah,
I'm
actually
sure-
Danish Tamaji is in that city， 东莞。
Oh, you're in the perfect place.
那您就是在一特别完美的地方。And she said that they will try their best to follow your way, to follow your suggestion.
Sounds exciting. Let me know.
这太让人兴奋了，你一定要让 Guru 知道。
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Yes,
Good
that's
night.
everything.
Good
Thank
night to all of you.
大家晚安。
Good night, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mahatma Prabhu ki jai.
在
谢谢大家马大姐的精
The
彩翻译。
Prabhupada ki jai.
在
jai.
Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Hari
哈
Hari
利哈利
Bol.
吧。
Jai.
Hallelujah.
Gauranga.
让我